If you're looking for a job, you won't want to miss today's show.
They can create their resume and post their qualifications, and we match those skill sets with jobs that are already posted by employers.
Find out where you can access these resources to aid in your search for employment. And later, tips for staying healthy. All this and more on this edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Stay with me as I take you through the pages. We'll be right back.
Jamaica comes alive for Jamaica 55. The Jamaica Information Service is inviting primary, secondary, and tertiary students to catch the vibes and join in the celebration by participating in this year's staging of the JIS Heritage Competition. Primary and prep school children, ages 9 to 12, enter the essay competition and tell us how you would want to see Jamaica in 55 years. High schoolers, enter the poster competition. Show us your artistic interpretations of Jamaica throughout her 55 years in a poster titled Jamaica 55. Posters may be designed digitally or illustrated. Zoom, click, snap. Yes, tertiary students, the photo competition is back. Capture an image that best represents Jamaica 55. For more information on the competition rules and how to submit entries, visit the JIS website at www.jis.gov.jm. You may also send an email to heritageessay@jis.gov.jm, heritageposter@jis.gov.jm, or heritagephoto@jis.gov.jm, or call us at 926-3590-4. The deadline for all entries is October 31, 2017. So ready, set, go for prizes galore. JIS Heritage Competition 2017, celebrating Jamaica 55.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, October 25. The Enterprise team established to manage the island's waste-to-energy program has completed a pre-feasibility study. The study, which began in November 2016, sought to determine the amount and types of waste being produced and whether or not the waste can be used to make energy. Findings of the study will now be shared with various entities for consultations to begin. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the Littleton-Shirley-led Enterprise team is also looking at public-private partnerships for contracting out solid waste management and collection. As he handed over 11 new trucks to the National Solid Waste Management Authority on Tuesday, Mr. Holness reiterated government's intent to reform the entity as a regulator and divest its role as a service provider. According to the Prime Minister, investments made in the procurement of a projected 128 garbage trucks will become part of the assets and value that will be divested.
Now, when that is fully developed, you will start to see a major difference in our environment. It will be a more efficient operation. You will have less garbage on your street, and as a taxpayer, maybe you will have less burden because it will be a far more efficient operation.
Cabinet has approved amendments to the Pharmacy Act. Part of the amendments will see nurse practitioners being allowed to prescribe, up to a certain point, medication to patients who have particular symptoms. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says the amendments will add value to the administration of the public health system.
That amendment, by the way, also includes bringing into the process things like nutraceuticals, pharmacy technicians, and what their role is and so on. So it's a comprehensive review.
Dr. Tufton was addressing the Nurses Association of Jamaica's 71st Annual General Meeting and 47th Island Conference recently. The minister said government was also reviewing the public healthcare system to make it more attractive to workers. Among the initiatives being pursued are measures to cater to the welfare and well-being of nurses. This will include training, housing, security of tenure, and improvements in the working environment.
Job satisfaction and retention is not a function of the size of the salary that you earn. If it were, we wouldn't have any nurses in Jamaica.
The Tourism Enhancement Fund has spent to date approximately $190 million on developmental projects in Falmouth, Trelawney. Projects include the renovation of the Falmouth Courthouse and the renowned Water Square Business District, as well as a vendors relocation and rebranding exercise.
Some people said that the vendors wouldn't move because that is how they have been all along. And we say, vendors, we are going to organize you because you're not vendors, you're entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs have to be organized. You're businessmen and businesswomen, and you must look like businessmen and businesswomen, and you must operate in areas that is fitting to be a business place that people can come and feel comfortable to transact business.
The tourism minister says the Port of Falmouth is poised to become a model cruise shipping destination as a result of the work being undertaken. He was speaking at the recent Falmouth Heritage Expo and launch of the Heritage Map of Jamaica. According to the minister, in August, 48,910 cruise passengers visited the town. This represented a 5.4% increase from the corresponding period last year. Royal Caribbean's Oasis of the Seas is among the list of vessels that frequent the Port of Falmouth and contribute to that increase. Come November 1, cashier services will no longer be offered at the Swallowfield Examination Depot. The Tax Administration Jamaica, TAJ, says the on-site payment facility is being terminated as the Island Traffic Authority rolls out its new electronic certification system. This system is geared towards eliminating the transcription errors that can arise from issuing handwritten certificates of fitness. Motorists are being asked to use the TAJ's online payment facility, which has been in place since September. To access the TAJ's Motor Vehicle Certification of Fitness Fees online payment portal, motorists should visit jamaicatax.gov.jm and follow the on-screen directions. And finally, Prime Minister Andrew Holness is lauding the Caenwood Group for its donation of 100 tons of Galvalume roof sheeting to the people of hurricane-ravaged Dominica. Valued at $200,000, the donation was routed through the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency. Caenwood's donation covers port, handling, and shipping costs. The roofing materials are expected to arrive in Dominica on November 7, after which they will be installed on 1,000 homes by military engineering units from Jamaica and other Caribbean countries. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
We want a productive Jamaica. We are not productive Jamaicans. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity is the way to go for all us Jamaicans. Small business, big business, old and young, we are tell every woman and man. We want growth and prosperity for a better nation with a building plan. So we can build our product and sell our product and put more money in our hand. Our economy can rise to a level and build a better nation. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity.
Productivity, Pathway to Prosperity. A message brought to you by the Jamaica Productivity Center, a department of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
The Ministry of Labor is making job hunting easier. How? Well, it's simple as going to a website, uploading your resume, and you know what? I won't give you all the details. Get more information in our next feature.
Since 2001, the Ministry of Labor and Social Security's Labor Market Information System, LMIS, has provided a cost-effective way for employers to source and find suitable employees, as well as for job seekers to find employment. The LMIS has three components: the Labor Market Intelligence, LMI, the Skills Bank, and the Electronic Labor Exchange, ELE. These three components are interwoven to equip job seekers and employers to meet the demand of the labor market. The Labor Market Intelligence Department, LMI, collects labor market information and uses this information to determine trends and factors which influence the market. The department spearheaded the National Labor Market Survey 2017, which was tabled in Parliament by Honourable Minister Shahini Robinson. The survey identified 6 key findings.
1,
Less than 1% of the workers in the participating firms were foreigners. 2. 80% of firms found it difficult to fill vacancies in their organizations. 3. Most firms were optimistic about their business prospects. 4. The hotel and restaurant services had the greatest opportunity for growth in the labor market. 5. Demand will be greatest for skilled workers in production and services with 72%. And 6. 10% of the firms employed persons with disabilities.
The survey is beneficial to policymakers, curriculum developers, students, job seekers, and employers who can use the information to assess imbalances in the labor market. Labor market intelligence is also utilized to better position the LMIS to meet the needs of clients. The Electronic Labor Exchange ELE is the core component of the LMIS. It's a critical tool for linking job seekers with employers where the in-office services are enhanced by an online portal.
Persons can go and register on or offline. They can create their resume and post their qualifications. And we match those skill sets with jobs that are already posted by employers.
What we do is to do preparatory work in terms of getting individuals ready for the world of work. And these are done through our employability skill sessions. And these are done effectively to allow for the individual person to be ready to go into an organization and display the relevant soft skills that we want in order to have productivity.
It showed me that it doesn't matter what happened in the office or what is going to happen where you go. There's always help and strength there. You should just take the good from it and leave the bad where it is. Without the program, I would have never gotten that training.
Since its launch, the LMIS website has attracted more than 14,000 job seekers and over 1,000 employers, earning their trust and becoming a national employment portal.
We have been partnering with the Ministry of Labour to have interns coming in and joining our team for 3-month periods. What they have been able to do is to come in and to create a steady pipeline for us of talent that we have been able to infuse into the workspace and to be able to fill our entry-level roles. The experience has been a good one for us. We've been able to find talent that we can transition into the organization, and most of them are still with us and doing very well.
I am very grateful for the program. When I left high school, I was in and out of jobs. And thanks to the ELE program, I'm here at the COK Sodality. I've been to 3 departments thus far, and I must say it has been a very good experience.
The LMIS is committed to serving Jamaica's labor force and has been building sustainable partnerships to enrich and increase access to the service.
The latest of which has been through the New Employment Opportunities Project, which the executing body is youth. And what that does is to allow for our individuals who are conducting our employability skill sessions to be trained in global standards as to how to do it. It also facilitates a development of a mobile app that would allow for individuals to be able to access our web portal.
In seeking to cement the public-private partnership, we have signed a memorandum of understanding with the Jamaica Library Service, with the Manchester Chamber of Commerce, and we intend to do that island-wide.
Through this MOU, job seekers are able to use both facilities to access the services of the ELE portal, effectively allowing the LMIS increased penetration across the island. To improve human capital and labor market outcomes for the poor, the ministry has partnered with the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, to develop and implement an on-the-job pilot for 1,500 PATH program beneficiaries.
Through the Electronic Labor Exchange, we are targeting persons from these households between the ages of 17 to 25 for job placement. Now, before we place them in jobs, we want them to be able to function effectively in the labor market. We want them to be able to retain those jobs. And it is through retaining those jobs that we will truly break the intergenerational cycle of poverty.
The LMIS is grooming and empowering Jamaicans to achieve their fullest potential by utilizing labor market information, promoting the services of the ELE, and strengthening labor market opportunities through partnerships. The Labor Market Information System, providing easier access to employment opportunities.
Excess salt in your diet increases blood pressure and contributes to kidney damage, gastric cancer, obesity, osteoporosis, and the worsening of asthma. Aim to have no more than 3 to 6 grams of salt, or half of 1 teaspoon per day. And children under 11 years of age should consume less than this. Get healthy. Reduce the salt. A public service message from the Jamaica Information Service and the Ministry of Health.
Sometimes the smallest things have the greatest impact on our health. For example, including more seafood in your diet can yield great benefits. Don't take my word for it. We spoke to an expert.
We all love our protein, chicken, beef, pork, but how often do we eat fish? Is it only at Easter time or when you're at the beach? Incorporating more fish into your diet can be very beneficial to your health. Compared to red meats and poultry, fish has far less calories and cholesterol.
It's the saturated fats and the trans fats that our bodies use to make cholesterol. And fish and seafood have very little saturated fat and trans fat. So in truth and in fact, that makes it a very healthy source of protein.
Fish also has iron, which is important for good reasoning and memory, iodine, which can prevent mental problems in children, and selenium, vitamins, and carotenoids, which are antioxidants. Who knew that we could get so many nutrients from fish? And that's not all. Incorporating fish into our diet can even reduce the chances of developing certain diseases.
Studies have in fact shown that people who have a higher intake of fish compared to other meat sources have less heart disease, they suffer from fewer mood disorders, and they have less cognitive decline with age, so less dementia.
This is due to omega-3 fatty acids, a nutrient that is only found in a few other food sources, such as walnuts and flax seeds. But oily fish, such as sardines, tuna, mackerel, salmon, and trout, are excellent sources of omega-3s and are readily available at your convenience in supermarkets. So we want to add fish into our diet. In what ways can we do this?
So escovitch fish is one of our favorites. Now the onions and the carrots and the vinegar and the pimento, that's all fine. But we don't want to do a lot of deep frying. Deep frying adds calories. Nothing like a nice steamed fish, a nice roast fish. And when you roast your fish, you can stuff it with wonderful vegetables like callaloo and so on. So we have to find other ways. Many of us have broilers as a part of our stove and we've never utilized it. We don't know how it's used. And that gives us, I think, the closest taste to fried without adding a lot of oil.
So we've got different styles of cooking the fish, but what about flavor? Jamaicans love adding salt, but fish is already salty. Wouldn't that be too much sodium?
If we utilize other things like lime and lemon juice and or fresh seasonings or scotch bonnet pepper or onions or scallion, we can make our fish flavorful without adding a lot of extra sodium.
That sounds really tasty, but watch out for bones. Make sure to debone fish before giving your children. Even if the fish is bought deboned, check for fine bones with your fingers. If you're not careful, you could end up with a medical emergency. The recommended serving size per week is only 8 to 9 ounces of fish, or 2 to 3 servings per week. With an array of health benefits and a variety of ways to cook it, don't miss out on this lifestyle choice. Make a positive impact on your health by adding more fish to your diet.
Slow down, drivers, you're moving too fast. Listen, we drive the cars. Cars don't drive us. So watch it now. Pay attention to the road rules. Don't be a fool, and don't bother with the careless overtaking. Just take your time on our Jamaica road and make we have a nice place. See? This is Taurus Riley, your singer and the recording artist. Help me to save lives.
Prevention is better than cure. And when it comes to your health, prevention is also cheaper. Did you know that when you take care of yourself, it saves you and the government a whole heap of money? It is expensive to treat illnesses. So make sure you exercise, eat up healthy foods, and get enough rest. If you want to play a part in nation building, you need to be in good shape.
More life.
More memories.
More moments.
Jamaica Moves is a call to action to prevent non-communicable diseases. Get active, eat healthy. You can protect yourself from high blood pressure, obesity, asthma, certain cancer diseases, and more.
Sometimes to stay healthy, we have to refrain from certain activities such as smoking. Up next, the dangers of smoking for adolescents.
Over the years, the prevalence of smoking among our youth from as early as age 13 has been steadily spiraling upward. The most recent Global Tobacco Youth Survey showed that smokers in the age group 13 to 15 increased from 15% to nearly 25% over a 9-year period. This trend is of concern, considering the ill effects of smoking.
Cigarette smoking is associated with nearly every cancer you can imagine. Cancer of the tongue, cancer of the breast, cancer of the cervix, cancer of the pharynx, cancer of the stomach, just to name a few.
There are over 4,000 chemicals in cigarettes that are harmful to the human body.
For example, chemicals that are found in embalming fluid, what is used to preserve dead bodies, chemicals which are found in rat poison, insecticide, chemicals that are found in battery. All of these chemicals are found in cigarette.
Among young people, the short-term health consequences of smoking include respiratory and non-respiratory effects, addiction to nicotine, and the associated risk of other substance abuse. Long-term health consequences of youth smoking are reinforced by the fact that most young people who smoke regularly continue to smoke throughout their adult years. Tobacco can affect youth activities and athletic performance as it narrows blood vessels and puts a strain on the heart.
In addition to traditional cigarette smoking, there have been some rising new trends among our youth.
We have observed a lot of parties, what they call the hookah parties. So the hookahs now comes in different flavors. So there's this myth about there that the hookah pipe is much safer than the smoking cigarette because the water inside of it actually filters out the smoke. But the research it actually does show that the hookahs still can cause cancer, TB, or even an STI because most persons, when they share the tip of they don't change it. So if a person has one STI, actually can pass to the other person.
Then there are e-cigarettes.
The e-cigarettes don't have tobacco per se, but they have nicotine, they have other chemicals in it, and many of them come flavored. They are glamorized, right, because many of them are marketed by celebrities, and they are touted as being relatively safe. But not because they don't have tobacco and many of the other chemicals that are seen in cigarettes, they are not necessarily safe. They do have other chemicals. And one chemical that is seen in some of the flavorings that are used in e-cigarettes is called diacetyl. Diacetyl is a chemical that was used to make the buttery flavor that was used to give microwave popcorn that taste. It was then banned because the factory workers in the factories making the microwave popcorn got ill.
Another popular smoking option among teenagers is marijuana. But does marijuana or ganja smoking pose any risk to the teenage smoker?
The research does show that there's a big difference between a teenager smoking and an adult smoking. And the simple fact is this, is that your brain is not fully developed until age 20 to 23. So there's a part of the brain that controls the executive function of the body, weighing consequence, all of these different things. So when you start using drugs at an early age, it actually impacts that part of the brain. So that's why you do have some of the students, so if you realize they're not doing well in class, right? It's like they get very upset or angry easily. All the research shows that once you start smoking from an early age, long-term consequences are more severe. For example, in the 30s, if you start smoking as a teenager, later on in life, when it lowers your IQ level.
The Jamaica Cancer Society cites peer pressure, stressful relationships, and unresolved challenges at home as the three main reasons for teenage smoking.
Unfortunately, many young persons are under the mistaken impression that cigarettes eliminate stress. This is certainly not so. We therefore encourage students to seek help from their parents and teachers to resolve any issues that they may be facing. Do not turn to smoking for answers.
To help teenagers quit smoking, there is the Fresh Start Smoking Cessation Program, offered by the Jamaica Cancer Society in association with the American Cancer Society.
This is a comprehensive 4-session group-based course that covers issues such as nicotine addiction, managing withdrawal symptoms, weight control, stress management, recognizing and planning for possible obstacles to quitting, staying tobacco-free, and enjoying being a non-smoker.
There's also an annual anti-tobacco youth forum held in February to educate high school students about the dangers of smoking.
Many young people feel that lung cancer in particular is a disease of the elderly and that they have years ahead of them before the dangers of smoking will affect them. So it is our responsibility to educate and to be able to tell our younger folk, don't start if you haven't started, and to stop if you actually have, because the dangers of cigarette smoking actually start from day one, from that first cigarette.
For more information on programs to help teens quit smoking, contact the Jamaica Cancer Society at 927-4265 or visit their website at jamaicacancersociety.org. You may also call the National Council on Drug Abuse at 926-9002-4 or visit their website at ncda.org.jm.
This is where my journey with you for Jamaica Magazine ends, but yours can continue online. Just visit our YouTube page or website to watch more editions of the show. We value your feedback, so send an email or drop us a message on our social media pages. I'm Adrian Atkinson. On behalf of the entire production team, do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.